How's it going, everyone? This is Javita. I'm going to cover some essential tips and tricks on getting started in the world of Boundless. First thing you'll probably notice once starting the game is that you move quite slowly, but don't worry, this is not permanent. By level 3 you can take the sprint skill. You can see your skills by either hitting H and then clicking on skills up at the top, or hit escape, character, and then skills. The actual sprint skill is under the core abilities section, and it's the third one down. You'll have to take basic crafting recipes and the compass first. Once you have this skill, you can either double tap to run or hold down the modifier key, which is shift. All of this can be customized either through the controls or the game options. Speaking of moving around in Boundless, it's good to note that if you're traveling across a nice grassy field or around mountains, there are often holes opening up into caves. These holes can sometimes be hard to avoid, as the grass can either hide them or the ice can be just slippy enough to cause you to fall into them. These holes can be a little bit annoying to get out of at first if you're trying to build or dig your way out. However, there's a much easier way. If you can find a ceiling that's only 2 blocks high, you can stand underneath it and return to Sanctum by hitting escape. This will automatically bump your return portal to a higher location. If you're still not back on the surface, you can interact with the portal again and click bump to a safe location. This is also excellent if you accidentally fall into lava and your portal is in a not so favorable location. Generally speaking, this method only has to be repeated 1 to 3 times to reach the surface. The next thing you'll probably notice is that Boundless has a pretty cool dual wielding system. This is invaluable for things like exploring dark caves, as you can pull out your trusty torch and light the area without ever having to actually place one on the ground. It's pretty awesome. Now by default you can use the mouse wheel or the number keys to switch through your action bars. However, as you can see, by default it switches both hands at the same time. Now this can be used to set up sets of items that go together. However, there's plenty of times where you want your torch out but you need to switch between either your shovel or your hammer, and it can be a little bit annoying. Now you can use modifiers for each hand to be able to switch that hand independently. Also, you can hold down Q and then the mouse button corresponding to your hand to be able to kind of rotate the mouse in a circle to select things. However, my preferred method is to go into the settings, and where it says item selection radial switching, it's by default it's both hands. You can switch that to primary hand only. Right below that you can designate which hand is your primary hand, depending on whether or not you want to use your right or left hand. This way you can use the scroll wheel to change only one hand, and then you can use a modifier key to swap to other hand, or Q in the left mouse button. Next up, Boundless has some pretty amazing inventory features. As you can see here, many of these icons have these special symbols, these 3 rows of 3 dots. That indicates that these are smart stacks and that there's actually more than one item inside of these. So I can right click on this, open it up, and see that there's actually 9 tools inside this one item here. At any time you can right click on an item to see more information about it. Also, if you hold down the right mouse button, it brings up a sort of a radial widget allowing you to split stacks. Furthermore, if you right click on a tool, you can see its stats such as damage, crit chance, and difficulty. An important note about difficulty is that is what indicates how much mastery you need in order to use it effectively. If you do not have, in the case of a diamond hammer, 70 mastery, you will do less damage and swing much slower, making it a poor choice to use. Luckily, you don't have to worry about mastery until you start using iron tools. However, if you see a fancy tool or weapon for sale by another player, it's good to note that it will do you little good unless you have the appropriate mastery. Another important note about smart stacks: while they're insanely powerful, they sometimes can be a little bit confusing, as some things smart stack together that you might not expect, such as wood and stone tools, or crafting ingredients such as glue, cogs, and nails. Generally though, smart stacks follow pretty obvious rules, such as raw wood goes with raw wood, raw stone goes with raw stone, and so on. If at any time you become lost in the world of Boundless, it's good to note that you can easily craft warp conduits at any time. Warp conduits can be used to teleport back to your landing site that was automatically saved when you entered the world, and if you've placed a beacon, you will also have a home location saved under Places in the main menu. However, there's an even easier way of doing this. You can skip crafting the warp conduit altogether by returning to the sanctum. Once in the sanctum, you'll see that there's already warp conduits placed in the sanctum. These will always be here and will allow you to warp to saved locations without having to craft or place warp conduits. However, it is important to note that warping does cost coins based on the number of hops it takes. Hops are simply the number of planets the portal has to travel through in order to reach the destination. The next issue you're likely to run into is inventory. While smart stacks are amazing, you do start off with half of this inventory, and it will be a little bit before you can make storage shelves. Storage shelves are pretty cool in that they connect together. So each one of these will connect together in this user interface to a maximum of 9. However, these take glue to make, which requires a furnace and coal. So a much cheaper and quicker alternative are actually just to make more crafting tables. As you can see here, each crafting table has 8 slots, and each crafting table only takes 5 trunks to make once they are crafted into planks. It's important to note that the world of Boundless is constantly regenerating itself. Changes left unprotected will regenerate in roughly 13.5 hours. If there's any player activity in the area, this timer can and will be reset. The only way to make lasting changes to the world would be to place and fuel a beacon. That pretty much wraps it up as far as in-game tips. My next couple of tips actually has to do with the Boundless community itself. They are an extremely helpful bunch of people, super nice, as well as the devs are super active and attentive to the players' needs. Head over to the Boundless forums or check out the Boundless Discord to help you meet up with players, ask questions, and get answers. However, if you have a crafting related question, I would advise you to skip over the Boundless wiki and go straight to boundlesscrafting.com. Here you can find not only all the crafting recipes currently in the game, but lots of other useful information as well. Anyway, this should wrap up the essential tips and tricks quite nicely. This was Javita. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to like it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. Until next time, peace.